Hello, my name is Fame and welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, I'll be designing delicious and dungeon OCs using a OC creator on TikTok. It's one of those videos where I have a bunch of colors and clothes you can choose from, and wherever you pause the video, that's what you get. I wanted to have more of a challenge while making these OCs, so that's why I did it. And I wanted to do both ideas, using that OC creator and making OCs for an anime or a show I was really into. So I just decided to combine them both. I'm so excited. I'll explain what Delicious and Dungeon is as I'm showing the screen recordings. And this will be a two-part series. I was gonna do one big video, but then they came out really long. So yeah, in this video, you'll get to see how I picked out stuff for my OCs. I'll explain them a little bit. And then I also did the drawing, so don't worry, you get to see me draw in this video too. And in the next video, I'll focus on the color palette. Because with the OC creator they did give me outfits and stuff, but I think I'm gonna slightly tweak the color palette. Most of the stuff will stay the same though. So yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling and let's get into the video. In this first video, it's my screen recording, and in the next two, it's my boyfriend's screen recordings. He didn't really like the concepts in the first video, but I did. So I took a few of the concepts from the first video and then also the second video. Now, let's get into Delicious and Dungeon. After a failed dungeon raid that resulted in his younger sister being eaten by a dragon, Laios and the remaining members of his party, Marcel and Chilchuck, set out to rescue her from being digested by the dragon. Having lost most of their supplies in the raid, the group is unable to afford rations, so they make the unusual decision to source all their food from the monsters inside the dungeon. Fortunately, an odd dwarf by the name of Senshi is willing to help them by showing them how to cook various foods in the dungeon and also join their party. This is a very good anime. I have been really fixated on it as of lately, so I highly recommend it if you are looking for a new anime. They do they release a new episode every Thursday, so do keep that in mind before getting into the series. Okay, let me stop talking. So it's been 2 days since I made that intro, and so far I actually have a concept design for both the OCs as well as body types and a few other things I've written about them. This is a Shensi doodle, by the way. But for the past 2 days, I've just been trying to intake as much information as I could about the series, since I've only ever seen, the animated version. So I've been on the wiki, Google, and trying to find like manga pages, also the Daydream Hours that has a lot of good character designs and stuff in there. So right now I'm rewatching the series, and here are just some notes about each of the characters, just like their clothing designs that I really like. And I'm also taking more notes. It's on this little thing, but don't worry about the mug. This is a Reese's mug my boyfriend got me, since that is my favorite candy, and it's just full of water since I use Mod Podge to conceal this drawing. Mod Podge is actually really good when it comes to concealing drawings like this. It's, no smudges, but if you do use it, don't use it on an opposite page, like don't use it on here, because they will stick together and possibly tear. With that being said, let me pull up a few pages. There we go. So here is the gist designs, not designs, but like the concepts I wanted to implement with each character, given that little OC picker thing on TikTok that me and my boyfriend did. This is his character, this is my character. And this was like the first thing I did for the characters, and then I came out with their faces, which, let me tell you, I am really proud of how the faces came out. Compared to all the other portraits I did, these ones are the best. So first, we're going to start off with his character. Here he is. His name is Tiamoid. I spelled it wrong. It's Tiomoide. Tiamoid, or Tio for short. We're just going to stick with Tio. He is an ogre. These are what ogres look like in Delicious in Dungeon or Dungeon Meshi. Either or. And I really like his design. Give him my afro mohawk, and I think it's really nice. And look, it's not nudity, it's just body types, okay? Don't freak out. And I'm not good when it comes to drawing bodies, but this is what I came up with. I really like it. I feel like ogres would be hairy, because as I read in the wiki, they live in like these island parts and closer to the northern, I believe. It's either northern or western. No, it's northern continent. Is it northern? Oh my god, it might be eastern continent. I'm sorry. But somewhere up there, it's a lot colder, so I feel like they would have body hair on them to keep them warm. And since he is still pretty young, I feel like he wouldn't have that much. So yeah, that's Tio. I'm really happy with how this came out. Also, I'll explain how he got these scars later. Now let's get on to my character. Her name is Zatara. Oh my god, look at her. Oh my god, so she is a beast man and tall man. I don't know which parent was which, you know. But yeah, so she has pale skin, but this is supposed to be like a huge birthmark, so I'll sprinkle that throughout her design more, since I don't just want that big old one. But yeah, I really like hers. I feel like she's super cute. And here's her body type. Whenever I tell you the story, you'll see why I gave her a more slim body type. I gave her like a really long and slender waist, but kind of thick thighs. Don't be weird. But yeah, those are both the characters and their little concept designs. Most likely hers will stay the same. I might tweak his. I'm not sure. But if I do make any changes, y'all will be the first to know. So yeah, let's continue on. Okay, I promise after this one, you will actually see me draw out the characters, and you won't have to hear me ramble about the notes I've taken. But anyways, I forgot his ears. We're gonna skip past this. We're gonna act like ears are there. Okay, got it, you know. Ta-da! He has ears magically. So on this little sticky note here, everything else y'all have seen in the last clip, you know, things I like about the characters, also these. Stay there. But here on this little sticky note, I added, it was all the main characters, and I put down things that was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like iconic for them. Like Senshi, he has the really fluffy beard, the rounded eyes, puffy mustache, and it would be his helmet if I actually drew his helmet, but I didn't want to. For Laios, I just did the bulky armor because I didn't know what else about him besides his height that really stood out. Because everyone else's, you know, their height is important to them, but I wanted things that weren't their height. For Chilchuck, I did the big ears, and his height in this one, I only wanted to bring up the height one time. For Marcel, I did the pointy ears, long flowy hair, and her staff. I mean, her staff isn't really part of her silhouette, but it's really key to her design. And then I put the other two characters I'm making, cat ears and tail, and then for Tiamoid, I did horns, large, and like really bulky frame. That was it. Which it's a little sad because I wanted more to be different about the characters, but I'll probably figure out something else. But can't see that. Here's their design. So please don't talk about the stains, y'all. I was eating noodles. I accidentally spilled it on here. But here's the outfits for them. For Zatara, I think I'm saying her name right. Y'all, I'm messing up. I gave her open toe boots, kind of like how the orcs? I think it was the orcs. Like the orcs had in Delicious in Dungeon. I gave her some leg pockets right here, a little garter belt. I gave her a little vest, kind of like Chilchuck's, but more with like more straps and neat designs. They have a side character that shows up on the show. I don't know his name, but it's his vest. You have some sleeveless gloves. Pretty simple. I think I'm gonna add more to it later, but we're gonna go to Tiamoy now. I gave him like a large strap. I don't know if I'm gonna give him a battle axe or like one of those big old sledgehammers, so I'll end up figuring that out today. I gave him like the puffy armbands that Senshi has, also like this animal fur covering right here. I gave him boots. That's pretty much it about his design. I feel like since he's an ogre, he wouldn't really rely on armor and stuff, so he would just dress the way he wants with like minimal coverings and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And now let's actually get into these character designs. I'm talking too much. Y'all came here for art. That's what I'm gonna give you. In this video, I'll be going over the character's backstory, and in the next video, I'll be going over how both of the characters met, as well as some character dynamics. So I know, so I have more time to come up with those character dynamics. First and foremost, I'm going to start off with Zatara. Also, a few things before I get into her backstory. She is a beast man and a tall man. One of her parents were a beast man, one of her parents were a tall man. That's why she has the cat-like features, but also remaining partially human. She is 26 years old and she's roughly 5'6". I feel like beastmen would naturally be taller, and since she's like a mix of a human and a beastman, she would just be kind of in the middle when it comes to her height. I did heavily base her off of a character named Izutsumi from the series. She's in the manga. She hasn't yet been introduced to the anime yet, but she's definitely in the manga, and I love her design, so I did heavily base her off of that. And since in the OC creator video there was cat ears, I didn't want to go full on cat, so I just kept the cat ears and stuff. And after seeing her, I'm like, you know what, I can do it. So that's what I went with. If you hear any rustling going around, I am drawing while I'm making this voiceover, so please do not mind that. But let's get into her backstory. She lived a fairly normal life up until her teen years, when her parents unfortunately died trying to protect her and her siblings from a wildfire. Being the oldest of the three, she took on the role as their caretaker. They lost their home in the fire and had to travel to find a suitable place for her and her siblings to live. She heard from a few people that the eastern continent was a good place to go to due to the jobs and dungeons, so she set off to go there, but without any money, it wouldn't be easy. That is where her passion for traps came into play. First, it started off with small traps for like fishing, then it grew into something larger like for catching bigger monsters, things like that. She grew up near a large body of water, so fishing was very common with her family. She would trade her fishing traps for transportation to the other continents. For almost a year straight, she traveled and perfected her trap-making craft. Since it was a good source of income and trade, that is what she wanted to pursue to continue to provide for her family. Hearing that her skills could be useful in the dungeon, she decided to join a few parties before settling on staying with Laios' party because of Senshi. He was fond of her traps and she was fond of his hunting. Whatever money she came across in the dungeon, she would send majority of it back to her siblings so they can get themselves something nice and also buy necessities. Now, let's get into Tiamoy. Before we actually get into his backstory, he is an ogre, and he's around 24. Also, his height is like 6'6", 6'7". That's like the average height for ogres, which is crazy. But let's get into his backstory. He lives in one of the few yet largest tribes in the eastern island of the archipelago. His father is tribe leader, so he is quite famous and is entitled to many fortunes. He too was the oldest of many siblings, so given their traditions, he was entitled to his father's role in the future. With his father's title, he tends to goof off and get into trouble doing as he pleases with little to no consequences. That was until one of his tricks ended up causing a great deal of damage to the homes and the tribes, as well as to a few other ogres. His father was angry with how childish his son was, so he exiled him until he learned how to act properly and proved himself worthy to accept the role as tribe leader. He was torn by his father's decision, but he couldn't do anything about it. While exiled, he met Zatara and she told him of his plan to go to the dungeons and make a living. This inspired him to follow after her, not only to join parties to make some money, but learn about their culture to see ways to help his people. He hoped this would be enough to let his father accept him back into his tribe. The reason he is in such a rush to be tribe leader is because his father is really close to his, death. Because ogres are a short-lived race, so they live up to maybe like 58 years, or roundabout. So he's trying really hard so he can become tribe leader before his father dies, so that his people will not have to go without a leader for long. I wish I knew how to draw like these large scale bodies, but like full body, because I do not know how to draw a full character on paper like this, because the details, the smaller it goes, the harder it is for me to capture their details. So yeah, we're not gonna see anything below the knee for him, and you better hope I draw the boots for her. I did forget to mention a few pieces of information about these characters, so I'll quickly go over that, but it won't be too much to get into how they both met and character dynamics. I already kind of went over one of the character dynamics, but we're not going to talk about that. Zatara is from the Western continent, which is really run down. It's mostly inhabited by orcs and ogres, so raids are very common over there. Since there's not many resources, the few resources they have, it's often fought over. Her parents lived on the outskirts, but one of the raids ended up getting really close to their home, which caused her parents to die and her losing her home. She is deathly afraid of fire because of it, so in the dungeon, when it comes to like the red dragon or any monster that is around fire, it could even be traps, she would not go anywhere near it. She would freeze up if she sees it. As for Tiamoid, if you know anything about ogres in this series, they are very rare. You don't really catch them outside of their tribes, let alone outside of the western or the eastern archipelago islands. Their population dwindled over the few years. A lot of people speculated it's from having food shortages and their really large appetites. Who really knows? I'm not too sure. But whenever he first gets to the dungeon, a lot of people want him in their party, and he doesn't say no. I mean, it's quick money. He's got a lot of strength, and he's just really aggressive when he fights. So at first, when him and Zatara get into the dungeon, they do not stick around each other that long. He is going from party to party, and she's just sticking with a few people now and then just to learn more about the place. But after a few months of them two not seeing each other, they do end up meeting again, and Zatara is already well acquainted with Leos's party, so she introduces them, and it doesn't take much convincing to let him join their party since he is huge. Leos is like, you know what? We can use someone like you. Oh my god. In the next video, I'll get into their personalities a little more, since I'm not really sure how I want their personalities to be just yet. Yeah, it's a mystery, so I'm just gonna let the characters marinate in my frontal lobe for a couple more days, and then I'll end up finding out something. Also, I'm not too sure if I want these OCs to be dating or not, or potentially develop into dating. I probably won't, because I really like their like friend dynamic, like mutual dynamic. I really enjoy that, and if I do want them to have a partner, I'll probably come up with them either dating one of the characters that are already in the show, or I'll make an OC they could date. What if I make them polyamorous? Oh my god. Whoa. Nope. We're not gonna get into that. That is something completely different. Oh my god. Nothing against polyamorous people. Do I want to do that? Oh my god. I think I might. think I might make them polyamorous. Well, I'll be danged. This is still up for debate, but I might make them polyamorous. I am very interested in that, and that'll, give me a character to design while there's a break in between these two videos. Future Fame here. I did in fact make them polyamorous. You'll see in the next video. Just wait. Whoa! Also, as for their reference sheets, it will still be on paper, so I'll kind of have their reference sheets in the sketchbook look like a D&D type of character reference sheet. It won't be that detailed. Oh my god. I tried to look up the reference sheets for it, and they are so detailed. Oh my god, my little brain cannot. It can't. So I'm gonna keep it kind of simple. But yeah, besides that, that's all I have. That's all I have about these characters for this video. Next video, like I said, we'll be drawing. Well, I already drew them. I'll be adding line art, coloring them, giving you more details about the relationships with the characters in the group. Who knows? I might introduce another character. Just wait and see. Just wait and see. Also, I had to make this video on TikTok, this last piece, because I ran out of space. So that's why the poses keep changing, and I'm sorry for the inconsistency with my posing in this video. The camera was moving every 2 seconds. Also, it shakes a bit because my brother walks heavy. I have no right to talk. I stopped. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe, Comment down below what you like about the character. If you don't, well, sorry. I don't really know what to say. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the continuous support. By the time I'm doing this voiceover, I have 29 subscribers. That is so neat. Oh my god, almost at 30. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Sit tight. It shouldn't take that much longer. If it does, I'm sorry. Oh my god. End the video now. Love you guys. See you in the next video.